Hey, my wonderful copiers. Today, I'm not going to do a very formal video. What I want to do today is I want to do a wrap up of my January 2021 performance for the month. I want to be doing this now in two different mediums. So the first medium, as you can see in the post, will be a written form which will go over each individual asset's results for the month. The second one that I want to do is more personal video. I think that it's really important to communicate well with my copiers, and I really want them to see me as a person. I'm not perfect, but I try my best to really work hard for all of you, and I really put in a lot of work. So this second form is going to be a little bit more personal, and it's going to explain my strategy, but not go too much into detail about every individual asset in my portfolio. So on the whole, we had an absolutely magnificent January 2021. So I actually made over 35% profit this month. And if we compare that to other industry benchmarks, such as the NASDAQ, which made just under 1.5% for the month of January, and the S&P, which actually was more than -1%. This is really an extraordinary result. And I'll explain a little bit more about how we achieved them. So overall in the market, in January 2021, it actually started really well, in line with what happened in the end of December 2020. There were some really good gains in the market and very good positive sentiment at the start of the month. A lot of this had to do with some of the approvals of the COVID-19 vaccine, the inauguration of Joe Biden, and moving some of those issues with Donald Trump to the side. And thirdly, a lot of hope to do with stimulus bills. This kind of changed towards the end of the month, and we saw some negative sentiment in the market. A lot of this was to do with some increased cases of COVID-19, not only in Europe, but also in the US, which really put kind of a dampener on the end of the month. I understand some of you may be a little bit nervous about what happened in the stock market over the last week, but you need to know that this is entirely normal after many months of the stock market really pumping and increasing in value over time. You also need to know that 2020 and 2021 are pretty unprecedented with the coronavirus, and there has been a spike in the number of cases of coronavirus around the world. So this is bound to have some negative effect on the stock market. But what you do need to know is that there is light at the end of the tunnel. I think with the COVID vaccinations and there being widespread swept out to the populations around the world, I think we'll see some improvement over the next month or two. So don't panic. Let's think long term. And I think sometimes you just need to zoom out. So overall, I'm not a big believer in trying to time the market. I think that sometimes you can try to be too clever, and this can be detrimental to your overall results. What I like to do instead is try to keep as a diversified portfolio as possible and try to reduce any risks that there are in the market by really good risk mitigation strategies. So I just want to highlight my 3 best performing assets in the market in January 2021. So I think the number 1 was a company called Big Lots, which is a US retail company. And they did really well for the month, and I actually ended up making 34% on that stock in January 2021. In second place was Vista Outdoor. This is a US company which makes a lot of different firearm ammunition and many other things. They did really well in the market this month as well, as I expected them to do. They made over 22%. The third one, which also did really well, was a company called Bausch Health. Bausch Health is a pharmaceutical company. I've held them for quite a while in my portfolio, but they've achieved some very good things over the last few months, and they have a very good, strong management team that's kind of turning around the company from where it was previously with Valiant. So they've done very well. So those are my 3 best performing stocks this month. I've recently added some new stocks to my portfolio, such as FedEx. Also, I've added in a few ETFs, such as LIT, which is a lithium and battery life ETF with many different companies within that basket of products. I expect this industry to continue to grow as we see more and more need for lithium batteries in such things as EV cars. I've also bought into the block ETF. I recently done an article on that, but the block ETF contains lots of different companies from the blockchain and crypto industry, including crypto banks, also crypto mining companies, as well as payment processors such as Square, PayPal. So I can see a very bright future there as well. I've also bought recently a waste management company. I think that is quite recession-proof industry. I think even if there was a downturn of any sort, we are always going to create waste, and I think also it has very sound financials and a lot of different room to grow. I have also bought Raytheon, which is a US defense company. I think right now, with the state the world is in, I think there's going to be more and more need for defense supplies. And I really can see that they can excel over the next couple of years. So this is a long-term hold. Now we move on to our crypto positions. I'm extremely bullish about Bitcoin for the next 9 to 12 months. I think what happened in May 2020 was that there was a halving event. What this means is that the supply of new Bitcoin coming onto the market was halved as rewards for the Bitcoin miners. This in turn causes something called a supply shock, which really plays out over the next kind of 6 months or so. We then saw an increase in the Bitcoin price, and as of recently, it went all the way up to 40,000. We've had a few pullbacks this month, but overall, over the month, we are still up over 8% on the Bitcoin positions. I think what we need to know is that we need to be patient. I think there's going to be quite volatile over the next couple of months, but I can see only the general direction of Bitcoin going up over the next 9 months, as we see a lot of interest from institutions, hedge funds, insurance companies, pensions, private and public companies. We even saw an injection of new capital into Bitcoin from MicroStrategy recently, who's taken their overall holdings in Bitcoin to over $1 billion. I'm also very bullish other cryptocurrencies that are in my portfolio, such as Cardano and Ethereum. Ethereum recently again hit its all-time high, and there's lots of developments going on in the space around the Ethereum 2.0 project. And there's also a lot of hype and also a lot of different projects that are going on in DeFi. DeFi is decentralized finance, and a lot of these are run and driven on the Ethereum blockchain. I'm also conducting some very good risk mitigation strategies, especially for crypto. I understand that the prices have gone up a lot over the last year or so. So what I'm really doing as the price of crypto increases with time, I've actually trimmed my position and diversified into more different assets. I will continue to do this as the price of crypto goes up in order to protect your capital. So please be rest assured that I am managing these risks. Now we move on to the precious metal allocation in my portfolio. I'm overall very bullish, especially on silver. I think if we look at the current economic situation and the amount of new fiat money supply that's being pumped into the system, I think a lot of the precious metals such as gold and silver will do very well. I also think the gold to silver ratio is actually very favorable at the moment, and I expect prices of silver to increase over time. You also need to remember that silver is also used for many industrial uses, such as solar power, which we're going to see a more and more of a surge towards over time, dentistry, jewelry, semiconductors, and many other different industries. So I think demand is also going to go up over time. So this is a long-term hold in my portfolio. So overall, I've kept quite a lot of my money available in my available balance. I've done this for kind of a key reason. What I really want to do is I want to be in a position of strength. So if the stock market is to dip for whatever reason, then I have available funds that are ready to seize upon opportunities, going from a position of weakness without cash to a position of strength with cash ready to seize upon those opportunities. I've also tried to seize upon opportunities with the volatility in the market by doing some swing trades. I try to keep these as small as possible, and I do not take undue risk. My strategy is to do lots of very small trades and book in some profits, 1, 2 to 3%, sometimes slightly higher if crypto or another more volatile asset class. But my overall aim is to try and get a win rate of over 95%. I also don't want any of my new copiers who have copied over the last week or two to worry too much if there was ever a pullback in the portfolio. I think it's very normal to have some of these speed bumps, but what a lot of my copiers can attest to, that the longer that they copy me, the more profit that they're actually in. I think in the markets, there are ups and downs, but I think if you choose quality stocks and quality allocations, then you are going to outperform in the long run. Overall, in January 2021, that was my 4th month in a row in profit. I hope to move that forward into a 5th month in February 2021, and as I look to tackle whatever the market throws at me. I really want to thank all my loyal copiers for the support that you've shown to me over the last few months. I really enjoy interacting with you all and answering any questions that you may have. As usual, thanks for listening to this video, and if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below and I'll be happy to answer them. Until then, nice to speak with you.